Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Layman's Terms, your source of ignorance and drunken banter. I am the layman. I just recently had a birthday, and I wanted to give a big shout out to my man Christopher Burvetts for his family for getting this hat. Layman's Terms, I love it. Also, a mug, my mug of a mug, so I can drink out of my mug, of a picture of my mug. Very cool presents. Thank you so much, Chris. You are truly a good friend. Thank you for supporting Layman's Terms. Haven't been here for a while. What's going on? Eagles are going into the NFC Finals against San Francisco. The other teams for the AFC is the Chiefs and the Bengals. The Bengals have, in my opinion, the Chiefs' number. So hopefully, the Chiefs can pull it through and we can get a Kelsey Super Bowl. That's what I want. A Kelsey Super Bowl. Mark it here. If this happens, it'll be fucking awesome. I can't wait for Sunday. So, that being said, big shout out to the that horror couple because they reviewed the trailer for Evil Dead Rise and it looks very good. So shout out to both those people because they do an amazing job. Thank you. I subscribe to your show. Keep doing what you're doing. I love it. Okay? Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop going to conventions. I have to stop because they're too damn expensive. So, that being said, if you want to get into Magic, you got to hook up with my man, Dave Schwartz over at Bluebird Games. He's on Facebook. He's on YouTube. He posts at least one video per day. If you need decks, if you're interested in playing with Magic, hit him up on Messenger. He'll be more than happy to help you out. And if you say the Jester sent me, he might give you a discount. Might. It's like, how do you know the Jester? I know him. That's it. So, as promised, one of my two promises for this year was to do the biography of Max Baer. A lot of people don't know who Max Baer was. He was a boxer during the 30s, and he always interested me. And back in 2005, Cinderella Man came out with Russell Crowe, and Ron Howard predicted he cast Max Baer as a villain, and that's not the case with this guy. He was a really good guy. So we're going to go into his biography. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so Max Baer. Everything I got from Wikipedia. So if you see Wikipedia, yeah. But there he is, Max Baer. Handsome guy. I'll see his stats. His real name was Maximilian Albert Baer. He was heavyweight champion for 1 year. He was 6 feet 2.5 inches. His reach was 81 inches. Wow. He was an American, born on February 11th, 1909 in Omaha, Nebraska. Died on November 21st, 1959 at 50 in Hollywood, California. He was an Orthodox Jew. Total fights 81, wins 68, wins by KO 51, and he lost 13 of them. We're not going to go into all the fights, but just the important fights. So, like I said, he was born on February 11th at Omaha, Nebraska, to Jacob Baer and Dora Bales. They were Jewish immigrants. His mother was Scottish-Irish descent, and so I guess his father was Jew, but they weren't practicing. His sister was Frances May Baer. His younger sister was Bernice Janet Baer. His younger brother was a boxer turned actor Jacob Henry Baer, better known as Buddy Baer. His adopted brothers his adopted brother was Augie Baer. Um, in May 1922, tired of winters, and France's rhythmic fever, the Jacob's high blood pressure, the Bears drove to the moderate climate of West Coast, and Dora's sister lived in Albadena, California. Max took his first job as a delivery boy for John Lee Wilbur. Wilbur ran a grocery store and bought meat from Jacob. So his father was a butcher. So that was his first job. They had a pig farmer. When you're a pig farmer, you have to go into the city. He had to go into the city around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to all the restaurants to get all the trash and all the scraps from everyone else that ate, brought it back to the farm before the pigs woke up. I don't know if you know this, but pigs are cannibalistic. Um, all pigs wake up at the same time, and the last pig that doesn't wake up, they eat its feet and they eat it alive. So the old wives' tale is true. You always have to fill a pig's trough. Um, they moved to Northern California in 1926. He raised more than 2,000 hogs, like I said, and worked with daughter Frances' husband, Louis Santigi. Baer often credited working as a butcher boy, carrying heavy boxes of meat, stunning cattle with one blow, and working in a gravel pit for developing his powerful shoulders. Guy was a farmhand, dude. So, have you ever fought a farmhand? They're fucking tough. I don't want to stare down a farmhand. He's gonna beat my ass. He turned professional around the end of the 20s. Baer turned a professional in 1929, progressing steadily through the Pacific Coast ranks. His first fight was Frankie Campbell. A ring tragedy, almost a little more than a year, almost caused Baer to drop out of boxing for good. He fought Frankie Campbell on August 25th in 1930 in San Francisco. A ring built over home plate at San Francisco's Recreation Park. That's awesome. For an unofficial title of Pacific Coast Champion in the second round, Campbell clipped Baer and Baer slipped to the canvas. Campbell went toward to his corner and waved to the crowd. He thought Baer was getting to the count. Baer got up and flew at Campbell, landing a right hook turned head, which sent him to the canvas. Powerful. Okay. After the round, Campbell said to his trainer, "Something feels like it snapped in my head," but he went out handily for rounds 3 and 4. As Baer rose for the 5th round, the title. Oops, sorry. Campbell against the ropes as he hammered him with punch after punch. The ropes were the only thing holding Campbell up. Campbell collapsed to the canvas. Baer's own seconds reportedly mistreated to Campbell, and Baer stayed by his side until an ambulance arrived 30 minutes later. So he died a little bit later. Yeah. Very terrible. So, and they depict this in the movie. At noon the next day, with a candle lit lays between his crossed fingers, his wife and mother beside him, Frankie Campbell was pronounced dead. Upon the surgeon's announcement of Campbell's death, Baer broke down and sobbed inconsolably. Brain specialist, Dr. Tilton E. Tillman, imagine having that name, declared death as being caused by a succession of blows on the jaw and did not struck on the rear of the head that Campbell's brain had been knocked completely loose. Your brain in your head, because that's where it stays, is floating around. And when you have a concussion, the brain hits the inside of the walls of your skull. That's what a concussion is. It's holding it together by your spinal column right here. Okay, so your brain's floating in your head with the cerebellum fluid. Okay, and that's what a concussion is. So imagine getting punched by Max Baer repeatedly. Something's gonna snap, obviously. You know. Go Birds. The next fight was Ernie Schaff. The Campbell incident earned Baer the reputation of his killer in the ring. Really, he wasn't. He was a nice guy. I mean, obviously, he was crying to his widow. You know, he felt terrible. He had nightmares because of it. This publicity was further sensationalized by Baer's return bout with Ernie Schaff on August 31st, 1932. Schaff had bested Baer in a decision during Max Eason's debut bout at Madison Square Garden on September 19th, 1930. Schaff complained frequently of headaches after the bout. 5 months after the Baer fight on February 11th, Schaff died in the ring after taking a left jab from an Italian fighter, Primo Carnera, and we'll remember that name, okay? The majority of the sports editors noted, however, that the autopsy later revealed that Schaff had a meningitis, a swelling of the brain, and was still recovering from the severe case of influenza. The death of Campbell and accusations over Schaff's demise profoundly affected Baer, even though he was indestructible and remained a devastating force in the ring. So this is what Max Baer Jr. said. You don't know who Max Baer Jr. was. He was Jed Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies. Jed Clampett? I think it was Jed. No, Jed. It was Bodine? I don't know. I never watched the show. My father cried about what happened to Frankie Campbell. He had nightmares. In reality, my father was one of the kindest, gentlest men you'd ever hope to meet. He treated boxing the way today's professional wrestling would do. Wrestling was part sport, mostly showmanship. He never deliberately hurt anybody. In the case of Campbell, Baer was charged with manslaughter, but he was eventually acquitted of all charges. But in the California State Boxing Commission still banned him from any in-ring activity within the state for the next year. Baer gave purses from succeeding bouts to Campbell's family. He fought in the ring, so whatever money he made gave straight to the Campbells. He put his kids through college. That's a good guy. Come on now. Max Schmeling. On June 8, 1933, Baer fought and defeated German heavyweight and former world champion Max Schmeling at Yankee Stadium. Schmeling was favored to win and was Adolf Hitler's favorite fighter. He was German. Schmeling was attacked by a Der Schmier, is a pub. It's a Nazi tabloid. For fighting a non-Aryan, as Baer's father was Jewish. Baer, who was half Jewish, he wore trunks which displayed the Star of David. Also, he came to the ring of the Star of David. His promoters lied to Baer and told him that, as you see this guy, He's like, yeah. He's a Nazi. Well, what's a Nazi? Explains what a Nazi does and is, and he's like, well, fuck that noise. I'm gonna go kick his ass. Beats the shit out of this dude. Really cold cocks him. When the fight began, he dominated the rugged Schmeling into the 10th round. When Baer knocked him down and the referee stopped the match. Columnist Westbrook Bigler wrote about the fight. He said that wasn't a defeat; it was a disaster. Claimed that Baer would win, come to symbolize Jewry struggles against the Nazis. Baer became a hero among Jews, those who identified with Jews and those who despised the Nazis. According to biographer David Brett, after the war ended, it was learned that Schmeling had in fact saved the lives of many Jewish children during the war and still serving his country. We'll go backwards to after the fight. The promoters got Baer in the corner and said, listen, he wasn't Jewish, he was just a German boxer. He was just German. He's like, oh, okay. You know, well, he was mad at his at the promoters because the promoters just wanted to fight. They wanted to sell tickets to make money. That was it. You know. So Baer wins the match, of course, and then Schmeling is off to on the docks because he's going back to Germany. Baer catches up with them. I was like, listen, dude, I'm really sorry about that. I thought you were a Nazi. He said, no, I'm not a Nazi. They quickly became friends. And he went back to Germany and saved countless Jews, Jewish children. American film star Greta Garbo considered Baer's defeat of Schmeling to be a mini victory over Nazism. She invited him to visit her while she was filming Queen Christina. I don't know. The friendship led to romance, which lasted until his return to New York to train for his next fight against Primo Carnera. We know that name. June 14th, World Heavyweight Champion. Sorry. He was Primo Carnera. June 14th, 1934, at the outdoor Madison Square Garden Bowl at Long Island City, New York, Baer defeated the huge reigning world champion Primo Carnera of Italy, who weighed in at 267 pounds. Baer knocked him down in the championship 11 times before the fight was stopped in the 11th round by a referee to save Carnera from further punishment. Knocked the shit out of this dude, man. Then he won. He was world champion. He would wear the championship for 364 days, not 365, 364. Okay. This is where the story of the Cinderella Man comes up. And when I saw this movie, I saw it in a movie theater by myself because that's what I did back in the day. Young Keith went to the movies by himself, didn't even order popcorn. He went and sat and watched movies. That's what the cat did. James J. Braddock, the Bulldog of Jersey. June 13th, 1935, in Long Island City, New York, as Baer fought a down-and-out boxer, James Braddock, so-called Cinderella Man bout. Baer hardly trained for the bout, as Braddock, on the other hand, trained very hard. Braddock says, when you've been through what I've had to face in the last 2 years, a Max Bear or a Bengal tiger, it looks like a house pet. He might come me with a cannon and a blackjack. I don't know what a blackjack is. and he would still be a picnic compared to what I've had to face. Baer, ever the showman, brought gallows of laughter from the crowd with his antics, and then night he stepped between the ropes to meet Braddock. As Braddock slipped the blue bathrobe from his pink back, he was the sentimental favorite of the ball crowd of 30,000. Most of whom had their money bet on against him, 8-1 against him. Max paid the penalty for underestimating his challenger before and wasting too much time clowning around. At the end of the 15th round, Braddock emerged the victor in an unanimous decision, outpointing Baer 8 rounds to 6 in the most astounding upset since John L. Sullivan went down before the thrust of the gentleman Jim Corbett back in the 90s. Braddock took his heavy hits from Baer and kept coming until he wore Max down. The fight was featured in 2005, Cinderella Man. Matt Baer was portrayed by Craig Burko, and Braddock was played by Russell Crowe. Max Baer killed 2 people in the ring. Well, one person in the ring, he felt very guilty. Ever since then, he treated it like a show. Yeah, he wanted to get paid. Yeah, he wanted to fight, but it's the same aspect as professional wrestling. As a heel, a bad guy, goes into the ring, he taunts the crowd and waves to the crowd and everything like this. He wants to get a reaction from them. It's all about this. Putting them in the palm of your hand. Make them do whatever you want. Make them laugh. Make them cry. Emotion is just pouring out of this crowd. And it was way better than just constantly fighting. Excuse me. It was having them in the palm of your hand so you're not working as hard. That's the thing. Okay? Didn't train for the fight. Braddock kicked his ass. Became world champion. That's it. Baer and his brother, Buddy, both lost fights to Joe Louis. In the 3rd round of Max's September 1935 match, Louis knocked Baer down twice. First time he had been knocked down to the canvas in his career. It was learned weeks later that Baer fought Louis with a broken right hand that never healed from the fight with Braddock. Yeah, Joe Louis. Damn. Baer was awarded a belt, declaring him the heavyweight champion of the world after he scored a first-round TKO over Pat Kaminsky at about Roosevelt Stadium in Jersey City. September 16, 1940, but it was a publicity stunt. So Baer boxed in 84 professional fights from 1929 to 1941, and all of his record was 71-13. 53 of those were knockouts, making him a member of the exclusive group of the boxers who have won 50 or more bouts by knockout. Baer defeated the likes of Ernie Schaff, Walter Cobb, Kingfish Levinsky. You gotta beat the shit out of someone named Kingfish Levinsky. Max Schilling, Tony Gallanto, Ben Ford, Tommy Farr. In 1968, Baer was inducted into the Ring Magazine's Boxing Hall of Fame. It was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1995. He was inducted into the International Jewish Sports Hall of Fame in 2009. 1998, holiday issue of Ring racked Baer 20 in the 50 greatest heavyweights of all time. 20. That's pretty good. Okay. In-ring magazine's 100 greatest punchers. Baer was ranked at number 22. Wow. He had that downward punch, dude. He was also an actor. He gave up boxing and did acting. So just some of the movies that he did was The Prize Fighter and the Lady, 1933. Africa Screams with Abbott and Costello, 1949. Acted in a vaudeville act, and I've always said in past shows about vaudeville, vaudevillian. A lot of the cast of the Batman 1966 TV series, they were a lot of vaudevillians. Appeared in Humphrey Bogart's last movie, The Harder They Fall, 1956. So the guy was no slouch. And then 1959, November 21st, he died of a heart attack in a hotel. I think he was brushing his teeth and he just collapsed. And someone tried to get him. He's like, "Do you want a house doctor?" He's like, "I don't want a house doctor. I want a people doctor." And that was his last joke as he passed away. So died at 50. So can take care of your heart, people. But that was Max Baer. That was something I wanted to do for the longest time. Yeah, that's it for this episode. Go Birds. I'll talk to you guys later. Christopher, thank you for the hat. Thank you for the mug. Thank you so much for the Bervetti family, for taking care of my family. And that's it. Thanks, guys. Take it easy. Next week, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe bosses. It just popped into my head. Bosses. You don't like them. Some are good and some are assholes. But we all have bosses. See you later, guys. Go Birds.